Alright, here we go. I must admit, I am nervous because this is a new sort of thing that I'm trying, which is like podcast meets YouTube sort of thing, but no video for it. So I'm going to be displaying pictures of what I'm talking about or other stuff. So, this is my crime slash talk show podcasting, and I'm kind of improvising with my microphone. I'm basically using a gaming headset, but I did test it out, and the quality seemed to be pretty good. So we are going to try this out. Now I will be doing multiple segments of this, editing it together, and yes, so I am a little bit excited. So, today's topic is the Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac was a serial killer who killed in the San Francisco Bay Area. Now, if you didn't hear about the Zodiac and you're young like me, in the range of, I don't know, 25 on below maybe, then that's understandable. But basically, he operated in that area in the late 1960s. Hopefully the quality's good on this, by the way, because if I do the whole thing and then it does not work or the quality's like shit, I'm going to be sad. But anyways, so I kind of got inspired to do podcasts from listening to Payne Lindsay's series Up and Vanished and the Monster series about the Atlanta child murders and the Zodiac Killer. And then I started looking more into the Zodiac Killer, and I got really interested with this, I gotta say. Now, my professional setup will be with a mic on a boom, and then everything will be way different, and I'm really excited to do that, but that's at my girlfriend's, which is 2 hours away, which I only go up there on the weekends. So, we're gonna get into this. So, yes, I was very kind of wanting to do this. I looked into the Zodiac, and I found all this stuff out, and I found some documentaries online and on Hulu, and there's so much to this. Like, this case is literally 50 years old and still unsolved. And it's just insane to me, the fact of that. And basically, he was famous for sending letters into the press. Now, he claims that he killed 37, but only 5 were actually confirmed by police. And that's kind of crazy. Now, they weren't all kills. No. Did I get my information? I might have got my information wrong. Oh my gosh. So I guess we'll have to look at that. So, basically what happened, I'm going to take it through the timeline, then I'll read you the letters that he wrote in, there was actually a lot. I think there was over 20 letters that he wrote in, and a lot, at the time that he started writing a lot in, when there were no confirmed kills, was when the Charles Manson trial was going on, and a lot of people think he just wanted to be the star of the show, so he wrote in because that was happening, and it's just one of those things, you know. So yeah, so I'm going to fix this, and yeah, so let's get into it. Let's go down a timeline. So the first thing that we didn't even know it was a Zodiac. Police did not know it was a Zodiac. It was December 20th, 1968. David Faraday, age 17, and Betty Lou Jensen, age 16. Now, these were the youngest victims of the Zodiac that we know of. They happened on Lake Herman Road. They were shot and killed. They were on a lover's lane in the outskirts of Vallejo, California, and they're shot to death near their car. So there were no survivors, and no one really knew. There were no witnesses, you know, so no one really knew anything other than they were shot outside the car. They knew they knew it was a gun. They knew that they were shot with, I think it was a .22 caliber, I'm not sure. And that's all they know. The one thing they did get from that, though, was a military boot print. So they knew that this person may have military experience, which does play a big part into this investigation later on down the road. Next up happened July 4th, 1969. Darlene Ferrin, age 22, and Michael Migeot, age 19, sitting in their car in Vallejo, California on Lover's Lane. Now, we got a little more information from this one due to a witness. Darlene was killed at the scene. She was shot and killed. but Michael was wounded, which is kind of miraculous given the story of how he was shot, like how many times he was shot and how it all panned out. So, staying in their car in Vallejo, California, which, again, Vallejo, so we know that he's operating in that area, on a Lover's Lane. Now, if you didn't know what Lover's Lane is, Lover's Lane was more of a, like a spot where in that time, it was different than it is nowadays, where, you know, a couple could go out they'd literally just drive out there in their car, park, you know, have their time alone, make out, do whatever that you can hint at what they were probably doing. Yeah, so this guy walks up to the car with a flashlight. Now they didn't know that the flashlight was taped to the gun, but they just thought it was a cop. So Michael went to go reach for his wallet, and he just heard a muffled noise, and he was getting shot. So that's where they think that he had a gun hooked to a silencer because of the fact that it was muffled shots. You know, if it wasn't a silencer, it wouldn't be like that. And we later find out that the Zodiac did tape a flashlight to his gun, and when you have a flashlight taped to your gun, there's a little circle like at the very center of the flashlight, and he said that that was the very center of the gun, at the gun barrel. So he used the words of comparison, and the words of comparison that he used were that having the flashlight taped to the gun like that was literally like spraying a hose. It was just literally like he sprayed a hose, he sprayed them with bullets. That's how he used it. So that was that, and within an hour after the shooting, the killer called 911 telling the location of the shooting and claimed responsibility for both of those shootings on July 4th, 1969 and December 20th, 1968. So they now have someone who's called in and claiming responsibility for the kills. They don't know a face, they don't know anything. And Michael was able to see a shadow of the figure, but nothing crazy. Like it was at nighttime, so he wasn't able to really see much. So the next shooting, it wasn't really a shooting, it was the next attack from the Zodiac, happened September 27th, 1969, and this one was more of a different attack than the others. He was changing his MO quite a bit here. So Cecilia Shepard, age 22, and Brian Hartnell, age 20, were at Lake Berryessa. Lake Berryessa is this really peaceful man-made lake, and it was at the end of the summer, beginning of fall, so you know, just kind of put yourself in that mode there where you're just looking out over the lake. It's starting to get into fall weather. It's nice. You and your girlfriend, or you and a friend who your couples are there, and it's just really nice weather. You're enjoying it. Cecilia sees a man up by the trees, a little bit up the hill, and she says to Brian, she points him out to Brian, and Brian just kind of says, you know, maybe he's just looking at the lake or just kind of watching or doing whatever. He kind of wasn't worried about it. And then the man started to get closer, and Cecilia said, he's walking this way. So then they stand up, look for him, and he's holding a pistol and a knife. And he's wearing a medieval style executioner's hood with, at the center of his chest, a circle with a cross through it, the Zodiac symbol. And he had gloves on, and he was about 6 feet tall, beefy, around 250 pounds, and wearing the executioner's hood. So they really were kind of, I mean, if you put yourself in that situation, I sure as hell would be frightened. I mean, that would be scary. And I frighten easy, so I'd be very, very scared. He said that he was an escaped convict from a prison in another state that was close by, but still far away. So and he told them that he needed their keys and their wallets, and he was going to escape down to Mexico and get away. So he said, I'm going to tie you up, and and police figured that he said this stuff, he like kind of tried to calm them down, like, you know, just cooperate with me, you'll be fine, everything will be okay. But then once they do that, and he gets them to a point where they can't fight back, that's when he turns on them and makes them scared for their life. So he had some pre-cut lengths of rope. he gave one to Cecilia Shepard, and he said, tie him up. So she did. And then the Zodiac tied her up. And then he went back to Brian and tied him up a little tighter because he wanted to, I think he just wanted to make sure that he was tied up tight and no one could get out to fight back. He then starts to stab Brian 8 times. Brian plays dead, thinking that, well, if I play dead, maybe he'll stop after a little while. And it worked. Cecilia, on the other hand, that didn't work. She fought back and was stabbed 13 times and ended up dying upon arrival at the hospital. But Brian survived the 18 stab wounds and gave police a detailed description of him. But after that, the police decided, you know, we're going to move him to another hospital location, not tell the press, not tell anybody, because what if he does come after him? They had no idea if there was any motive or anything for this. So the next killing happened on October 11th, 1969. Paul Stine, age 29, a taxi driver, was shot in Presidio Heights area in San Francisco. And he asked the Zodiac, when he got to his location, said, okay, stop here. For some reason, Paul Stine drove another block before he ended up stopping. And driving the extra block may have helped the police not catch this guy, but like catch the crime, I guess. Because some teens across the way saw this happening and they called the police. They said that the taxi driver was slouched over and there was some guy ruffling through up front, and then he got out, went around, wiped something on the car, grabbed his wallet, and took off. So police dispatched them. I think within a few minutes they get there, and it's all a big woohoo. Now, somehow translation was lost. The translation that the dispatcher gave police was a black man, not a white man. And police actually, when they were in the park, stopped and saw a white man, and he actually fit the description of the police, or the Zodiac, but because the translation was given that it was a black man, they never thought nothing. They said, hey, excuse me, sir, have you seen any strange activity or anybody acting strange come through? And he said, yeah, a few minutes ago I saw a man waving a gun running that way, and police sped off, and he disappeared into the park and was not seen again. That took a big hit, I think, to the the police investigation. I mean, you think about it, you got 2 officers that are trained to do their job well, and they mess up like that. But to be fair, it's not their fault. I mean, they should have said, you're fitting the description. They should have asked him to come in for questioning. Could we ask you some questions? But I guess I can understand it in that sense of, we were given a description of a black man, not white man. So, okay. The Zodiac wrote 2 days later in paper claiming the murder, and he also sent in a piece of Paul Stine's bloody shirt. And Paul Stine's shirt was missing, and they tested it. It was his blood. So he claimed it, and he had proof. So that was Zodiac. Now another thing, this all happened in 1968, 1969. There was a possible Zodiac killing in 1966. Jerry Joe Bates, 18 years old, in Riverside, California. Riverside, California, I think was 400 miles south of the Lake Berryessa, San Francisco, and Vallejo attacks. Sherry Jo Bates worked at the library, and she went out to her car, and what we got from this was the Zodiac was watching her, like, for that day of probably a span of 9 hours or so. He was stalking her, watching her. He watched her go out to her car and then go back into the library. After he did that, he went out and disabled her car. I think he took something from the starter or did something. Yeah, he basically disabled the car, it wouldn't start. He walked over, noticed that she was having trouble, said, give me a ride, I'll give you a ride home, we'll get things sorted out. He led her down a dark alley, which is where police found her slain between 2 abandoned houses. Now, the only way that the killer led her this way was because he had to have known that the houses were abandoned, otherwise he wouldn't have led her down that way. Alright, so next up we are going to read the Zodiac letter. So, the first letter reads from November 29th, 1966. She was young and beautiful, but now she's battered and dead. She's not the first, and she will not be the last. I lie awake nights thinking about my next victim. Maybe she will be the beautiful blonde that babysits near the little store and walks down the dark alley each evening about 7. Or maybe she will be the shapely, blue-eyed brunette that said no when I asked her for a date in high school. Maybe it will not be either. But I shall cut off her female parts and deposit them for the whole city to see. So don't make it easy for me. Keep your sisters, daughters, and wives off the streets and alleys. Miss Bates was stupid. She went to the slaughter like a lamb. She's not put up a struggle, but I did. It was a ball. I first pulled the middle wire from the distributor. Then I waited for her in the library and followed her out after about 2 minutes. The battery must have been about dead by then. I then offered to help. She was then very willing to talk to me. I told her that my car was down the street and that I would give her a lift home. When we were away from the library walk-in, I said it was about time. She asked me about time for what? I said it was about time for her to die. I grabbed her around the neck with my hand over her mouth and my other hand with a small knife at her throat. She went very willingly. Her breast felt very warm and firm under my hands. But only one thing was on my mind, making her pay for the brush-offs she had given me during the years prior. She died hard. She squirmed and shook as I choked her. Her lips twitched. She let out a scream once, and I kicked her head to shut her up. I plunged the knife into her, and it broke. I then finished the job by cutting her throat. I am not sick, I am insane, but that will not stop the game. This letter should be published for all to read it. It just might save that girl in the alley, but that's up to you. It will be on your conscience, not mine. Yes, I did make that call to you. Also, it was just a warning. Beware, I am stalking your girls now. CC, Chief of Police, Enterprise. So that was the first letter in 1966 from the Sherry Jo Bates. So the next one is December 1966. Sick of living, unwilling to die. Cut, clean, if red, clean. Blood spurting, dripping, spilling, all over her new dress. Oh well, it was red anyway. Life draining into an uncertain death. She won't, and then there's Smudge. Die. This time, someone will find her. Just wait till next time. RH. So that RH could have really given away some clues. Then in April 30th, 1967, a note was given to them. Bates had to die. There will be more. Signed, Z. So I believe that, over time, he probably escalated his notes and his signings he went from Z to the Zodiac symbol. San Francisco Chronicle letter. This one is to July 31st, 1969. Dear editor, this is the murder of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman, and the girl on the 4th of July near the golf course in Vallejo. To prove I killed them, I shall say some facts which only I and the police know. Christmas, which she also spelled Christmas wrong with 2 S's. Christmas. 1. Brand name of ammo, Super X. 2. 10 shots were fired. 3. The boy was on his back with his feet to the car. 4. The girl was on her right, side feet to the west. 4th of July. 1. Girl was wearing patterned slacks. 2. Boy was also shot in knee. 3. Brand name of ammo, Western. And then if you flip it over, here is part of the cipher. Other 2 parts cipher are mailed to the editors of Vallejo Times and South and San Francisco Examiner. I want you to print this cipher on the front of your paper. In the cipher is my identity. If you do not print this cipher by the afternoon of Friday the 1st of August 1969, I will go on a killing rampage Friday night. I will cruise around all weekend killing lone people in the night, then move on to kill again. until I end up with a dozen people over the weekend. And then it was signed the Zodiac symbol, which was on the executioner style hood. And then the same thing was emailed to the two others. And then it was the cipher. So what the translation says on the site that I found these, I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, which he spelled forest wrong as well, because man is the most dangerous animal spelled wrong, of all. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all that I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow me down or stop my collection of slaves for my afterlife. And then there's like some mumble jumble at the end. So a lot of people also think that the Zodiac might have been a Satanist because he mentions, to kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. So Satanism is along that lines, where you get more thrill than having sex by killing, or wouldn't go for having sex with post-mortem, but yes. July 4th, 1969. Dear Editor, this is the Zodiac speaking. In answer to your asking for more details about the good times I've had in Vallejo, I shall be very happy to supply even more material. By the way, are police having a good time with the code? If not, tell them to cheer up. When they do crack it, they will have me. On the 4th of July, I did not open the car door. The window was rolled down already. The boy was originally sitting in the front seat when I began firing. When I fired the first shot at his head, he leaped backwards at the same time, thus spoiling my aim. He ended up in the back seat, then the floor. Thrashing out very violently with his legs. That's how I shot him in the knee. I did not leave the scene of the killing with squealing tires and racing engine as described in the Vallejo paper, which is what Michael Mageau gave the police. He said that he sped away very fastly, but in fact he didn't. He drove away calmly, which gives you that sort of, he's very confident about what he's doing. He's not scared, which can also be very scary. I drove away quietly, drove away quite slowly, so as not to draw attention to my car. The man who told the police that my car was brown was a Negro, about 40 to 45, rather shabbily dressed. I was at this phone booth having some fun with Vallejo cops when he was walking by. When I hung the phone up, the damn X-at thing began to ring, and that drew his attention to me and my car last Christmas. Again, Christmas is misspelled. In that episode, the police were wondering as to how I could shoot and hit my victims in the dark. I did not openly state this, but implied by saying it was a well-lit night, and I could see the silhouettes on the horizon. Bullshit. That area is surrounded by high hills, trees. What I did was tape a small pencil flashlight to the barrel of my gun. If you notice, in the center of the beam of the light, if you aim it at the wall or ceiling, you'll see a black or dark spot. He spelled dark wrong too. Dark spot in the center of the circle of light, about 3 to 6 inches across. When taped to a gun barrel, the bullet will strike exactly in the center of that black dot in the light. All I had to do was spray them as if it was a water hose. There was no need to use the gun sights. I was not happy to see that I did not get front page coverage. Signed, the Zodiac, no address. The next Zodiac letter came September 27th, 1969, written on the car door at Lake Berryessa crime scene, Vallejo, 12/20/68, 7/4/69, September 27th, 69, 6:30, by knife. So obviously he was taking crimes and saying how he did it. Alright, the next one came October 13th, 1969, which was 2 days after Paul Stein was murdered. This is the Zodiac speaking. I am the murderer of the taxi driver over on Washington Street and Maple Street last night. To prove this, here is a bloodstained piece of his shirt. I am the same man who did the people in the North Bay area. The San Francisco police could have caught me last night if they had searched the park properly instead of holding road races with their motorcycles, seeing who could make the most noise. The car drivers should have just parked their cars and sat there quietly waiting for me to come out of cover. School children make nice targets. I think I shall wipe out a school bus some morning. Just shoot out the front tire and pick the little kitties as they come bouncing out. And then he signed it his Zodiac cross. So this really struck some fear into the public with threatening school buses. I mean, you threaten some adults, okay, there's gonna be definite fear. You threaten their kids, there's gonna be major fear. I mean, major. Alright. Next one. This is the Zodiac speaking. On November 8th, 1969, sorry. This is the Zodiac speaking. I thought you would need a good laugh before you hear the bad news. You won't get the news for a while yet. P.S. Could you print a cipher on your front page? I get awfully lonely when I'm ignored. So lonely I could do my thing. Alright, the next one. The Death Machine, as it is called. November 9th, 1969. So this was the next day. So he was very, very frequently writing to the Post because he wanted coverage. You know, he wanted to be a center of attention, I think. This is the Zodiac speaking. Up to the end of October, I have killed 7 people. I have grown rather angry with the police for their telling lies about me. So I shall challenge the way of collecting of slaves. I shall no longer announce to anyone when I commit my murders. They shall look like routine robberies, killings of anger, and a few fake accidents. The police shall never catch me because I have been too clever for them. 1. I look like the description passed out, but only when I do my thing. The rest of the time, I look entirely different. I shall not tell what my disguise consists of when I kill. As of yet, I have left no fingerprints behind me, contrary to what police say in my killings, where I wear transparent fingertip guards. All it is 2 coats of airplane cement coated on my fingertips, quite unnoticeable, plus very effective. 3. My killing tools have been bought in through the mail order outfits before the ban went into effect, except one, and it was bought out of state. So as you can see, the police don't have much to work on. If you wonder why I was wiping the cap down when I was leaving fake clues for the police to run all over town with. As one might say, I gave the cops some busy work to keep them happy. I enjoy needling the blue pigs. Hey blue pig, it was me and I was in the park. You were using fire trucks to mask the sound of you cruising prowl cars. The dogs never came within 2 blocks of me, and they were to the west, and they were only 2 groups parking about 10 minutes apart, and then motorcycles went by about 150 feet away going from the south to northwest. P.S. 2 cops pulled a goof about 3 minutes after I left the cab. I was walking down the hill to the park when the cop car pulled up, and one of them called me over and asked if I saw anyone acting suspicious or strange in the last 5-10 minutes. I said yes, there was a man who was running by waving a gun, and the cops peeled rubber and went around the corner as I directed them, and I disappeared into the park a block and a half away, never to be seen again. So he really told them, you know, hey, you goofed up here. You know, I think he was really enjoying that. And then it says, must print in paper in quotations. Hey pig, doesn't it rile you up when you have your nose rubbed in your boo-boos? If you cops think I'm going to take a bus the way I stated I was, you deserve to have holes in your heads. Take 1 bag of ammonium nitrate fertilizer and 1 gallon of stove oil and dump a few bags of gravel on top. Then set the shit off and positively ventilate anything that should be in the blast. The death machine is already made. I have sent you pictures, but you would be nasty enough to trace them back to developer and then to me. So I shall describe my masterpiece to you. The nice part of this is all the parts be bought in the open market with no questions asked. One bat POW clock. I will run for approximately 1 year. 1 photoelectric switch. 2 copper leaf springs. 2 6-volt car batteries. 1 flash light bulb and reflector. 1 mirror. 2 18-inch cardboard tubes with shoe polish inside and out. Mirror, bus, bombs, 1 bag each. 6-volt bat, 6-volt bat. Bus go bang, car pass by okay. Bus goes bang, car passes by okay. He's very like, it's almost, I don't know if he was intentionally misspelling stuff, or if he was doing it on purpose, or if he was doing it by accident, but he definitely made some of this like tricky, I think, to read, to throw people off, I think. The system checks out from one end to the other in my test. What you do not know is whether my death machine is at the site or whether it is being stored in my basement for future use. I think you do not have the manpower to stop this one by continually searching the roadsides looking for this thing. And it won't do you to rotate and reschedule the buses because the bomb can be adapted to new conditions. Have fun. By the way, it could be rather messy if you try to bluff me. P.S. Be sure to print the part I marked out on page 3, or I shall do my thing. To prove that I am the Zodiac, ask a Vallejo cop about my electric gun site, which I used to start my collecting of slaves. So he kind of gave a little bit away in that piece that I read just there about storing it in his basement. So what, because not every house has a basement, so what they could potentially do is go around Vallejo or in the California area that he was operating and look in the parts of basements. But he could have also been bluffing. It seems that he bluffed a lot when he wrote to the police. Because, I mean, there actually never was a bomb that went off. There was no school bus that was ever really targeted. And I think part of that might be because of how amped up they basically, they had undercover cops following, they had helicopters following school buses, they had police officers armed with shotguns on school buses, and they directed the school bus drivers, if you're shot at, do not stop. Keep going, fleet off, honk your horn, make loud noise, just get out of there and make a scene. That's a lot. I think we're about halfway through. December 20th, 1969. Dear Melvin, this is the Zodiac speaking. I wish you a happy Christmas. The one thing that I ask of you is this. Please help me. I cannot reach out for help because this is the thing that won't let me. Because the thing in me won't let me. I am finding it extremely difficult to hold it in. Check. I am afraid I will lose control again and take my 9th and possibly 10th victim. Please help me. I am drowning. At the moment, the children are safe from the bomb because it is so massive to dig in. And the trigger mech requires much work to get it adjusted just right. But if I hold back too long from if I hold back too long from 9, I will lose all control of myself and set the bomb up. Please help me. Please help me. I cannot remain in control much longer. Signed, Zodiac. So the situation with this Melvin was a celebrity counselor or counselor person, and there was commotion about him writing and calling in on a TV show. Now there was a call that came in, and it actually turned out to be a hoax from someone in a psychiatric hospital. Now, people think there are a few things that could have happened to how this could have went down. It could have been that the Zodiac was going to call in. You know, he wrote that he would call in and talk to him. It could be that he was going to actually call in, and then this person got in the way of that. Or this person just set the whole thing up and just did that. But it seems to be that Zodiac did actually write to Melvin. April 20th, 1970. This is Zodiac speaking. By the way, have you cracked the last cipher I sent you? My name is and then cipher. I am mildly serious as to how much money you have on my head now. I hope you do not think that I was the one who wiped out that blue meanie with a bomb at the cop station. Even though I talked about killing school children with one, it wouldn't do to move on someone else's territory. But there is more glory in killing a cop than a Sid, because a cop can shoot back. I have killed 10 people today. It would have been a lot more, except my bus bomb was a dud. I was swamped out by the rain we had a while back. The new bomb is set up like this, and there's some text on the diagram that shows like how the bomb is set up. Sunlight early morn, bus sun, AB, string of bombs, A car bat, timer, B. A plus B are photoelectric switches. Alright, so that just explains that. I'm not going to read all that. So, there is also, I feel that it's also possible that there could have been no bomb. Then he could have just been talking out of his hat. I mean, that's a very, very possibility, you know? Alright, April 28th, 1970. He's writing quite a bit. I'm actually surprised by this. I hope you enjoy yourselves when I have my blast. P.S. I'm back. And then on back it says, if you do not want me to have a blast, you must do two things. 1. Tell everyone about the bus bomb with all the details. 2. I would like to see some nice Zodiac buttons wandering around town. Everyone else has these buttons like peace, black power, Melvin needs blubber, etc. Well, it would cheer me up considerably if I saw a lot of people wearing my button. Please no nasty ones like Melvin's. So I mean, he's kind of, and it says thank you Zodiac. I think he's kind of be comical in some of these, and some of these he's really trying to, be demanding. He wants to be in control. Alright, next letter, June 26, 1970. So there was a bit of a period where he didn't write. This is Zodiac speaking. I've become very upset with the people of San Fran Bay Area. They have not complied with my wishes to wear some of the nice Zodiac buttons. I promised to punish them if they did not comply by annihilating a full school bus, but now school is out for the summer, so I punished them in another way. I shot a man sitting in a park with a .38 caliber. Zodiac 12, San Francisco Police Department 0. The map coupled with this code will tell you where the bomb is set. You have until next fall to dig it up. Cipher on map. And then he did give them a map, and it didn't really point out anything. It was looked at, and nothing really came about it. July 24th, 1970. This is Zodiac speaking. I am rather unhappy because you people will not wear some nice Zodiac buttons. So now I have a little list, starting with a woman and her baby that I gave a rather interesting ride to a couple hours one evening a few months back that ended in me burning her car where I found them. So we're going to take a pause from this, and I'm going to go to that, I guess I didn't write it down. Huh. That's different. Okay. So basically, this was Kathleen Johns. Now this wasn't 100% confirmed, but a lot of people believe that it is, along with me, considering that he does write in about this. What happened is Kathleen Johns was driving, and she was pregnant, and she also had a little toddler. Now some people think that maybe he didn't know that she was pregnant and had a baby until after this kind of unfolded. He flashed her that her tire was loose, that was wobbling, and he offered to tighten it. She agreed, okay, go ahead. So he did, but what he actually did was loosen the lug nuts on the car. And so he tightened what she thought was tightening, but he actually loosened. She then starts driving, she goes a little ways, tire falls off, and he pulls up behind her and says, I'm so sorry about that, let me give you a ride to the nearest gas station. So she gets out of the car, and then I think he notices the baby bump and the baby, and I think he kind of contemplated, probably, part of the human in him the good in him, even if there was any, said, you know, do I really want to kill a woman or a child? He drove past, it was a few hour drive, he drove past a gas station, and he said, and he basically told her, you know, I'm going to kill you. He said it a bunch of times. He said, I'm going to throw your baby out the window. And there was a few times where he would slow down around curves and stuff. And when he did slow down the one time, she decided, I'm going to jump. So she jumped out, she threw her baby into a bush, and she, you know, that's how she kind of like thought, you know, maybe he won't be able to find her, she'll stay quiet, blah yada yada. And she basically ran to a field and just laid down. And he started yelling for her, come back here, started looking for her, but then some cars started coming. So he get in the car, sped off, and then he went back and burned the car. And that's where this came. So she went, called police, gave a description and everything, and yeah. Alright, July 26, 1970. Oh, there's a lot of letters here. Actually, no, there's not. Let's see. This is Zodiac speaking. Being that you will not wear some nice Zodiac buttons, how about wearing some nasty Zodiac buttons, or any type of Zodiac buttons that you can think of? If you do not wear any type of Zodiac buttons, I shall, on top of everything else, torture all 13 of my slaves that I have waiting for me in paradise. Some I shall tie over the hills and watch them scream and twitch and squirm. Now it is noted that he does misspell twitch and misspell twitch, and I think there is another word he misspells. I think it's squirm. I want to say it is no. Yes. Squirm. I think it's twitch and squirm is misspelled. That was misspelled in the 1966 letter that was written to police about Sherry Jo Bates. Others shall have pine splinters driven under their nails, then burned. Others shall be placed in cages, fed salt beef until they're gorged, and then I shall listen to their pleas for water, and I shall laugh at them. Others will hang by their thumbs and burn in the sun. Then I will rub them down with deep heat and warm them up. Others I shall skin them alive and let them run around screaming. And all billiard players I shall have them play in a darkened dungeon cell with crooked cues and twisted shoes. Yes, I shall have great fun inflicting the most delicious of pain to my slaves. San Francisco Police Department 0, Zodiac 13. So, October 5th, 1970, San Francisco Chronicle. Dear editor, you'll hate me, but I've got to tell you, the pace isn't any sort. In fact, it's just one big 13th. Some of them thought it was terrible. P.S. There are reports city police pig cops are closing in on me. I'm crack proof. What is the price tag now? Zodiac. And then this one, I believe, was mailed to, it was a Halloween card mailed to Paul Avery at the San Francisco Chronicle. Paradise slaves, by fire, by gun, by knife, by rope, peekaboo, you are doomed. 14, boo, Z. This is the Zodiac speaking on March 13th, 1971. This is the Zodiac speaking. Like I have always said, I am crack proof. If the blue meanies are ever going to catch me, they have to get off their fat asses and do something, because the longer they fiddle and fart around, the more slaves I collect for my afterlife. I do have to give them credit for stumbling across Riverside activity, but they're only finding the easy ones. There are a hell of a lot more down there. The reason I am writing to the Times is this: they don't bury me on the back pages like some of the others. San Francisco Police Department 0, Zodiac 17. So he keeps claiming higher and higher numbers, but there was no ever confirmed. But he did also say that he was going to make his victims look like accidental killings of anger, and just accidents. And then March 22nd, 1971. This one is a non-confirmed kill of Donna Lass from Lake Tahoe, September 6, 1970. Because, and this was a year later, well, not a year, but a few months later, Sierra Club around the snow sought victim 12, peeked through the pines, past Lake Tahoe areas. She went missing, she worked at a restaurant, and that's basically all that people really know. And one of the suspects, um, Lawrence Kane, was in the area at that time, and he was a very suspicious character. So people think that he may have been the Zodiac. So we are getting down there. January 29th, 1974. So there was a 4-year period where he had nothing was done. And what's very suspicious about this is suspect Arthur Lee Allen was in jail at this, I believe it was at this time, for child molestation charges. And the Zodiac didn't write at the time that he was in there. And he says, I saw and think The Exorcist was the best satirical comedy that I've ever seen. Signed, yours truly. He plunged himself into the billowy wave, and an echo arose from the suicide's grave. Titlow, Titlow, Titlow. P.S. If I do not see this note in your paper, I will do something nasty, which you know I'm capable of doing. Me, 37, San Francisco Police Star 0. So obviously, if it was Arthur Lee Allen, he wouldn't have been up to 37. But say he just disappeared, like did not, like he moved somewhere else and started killing, or he just made up that he was killing that much, you know? Maybe he was only responsible for the 5. Dear editor, this was February 14th, 1974. Dear editor, did you know the initials SLAY symbolize liberation? Symbolize liberation, army, spelled SLA, an Old Norse word meaning kill, a friend. May 8th, 1974. Sirs, I would like to expression my I have no idea what he's trying to say. Consideration concerning your poor taste and lack of sympathy for the public, as evidence by your running of the ads in the movie Badlands featuring the blurb in 1959. Most people were killing time. Kilt and Holy were killing people. In the light of recent events, the kind of murder glorification can only be deplorable at best. Not the glorification of violence was ever justifiable. Why don't you show some concern for public sensibilities and cut the ad? A citizen. So I don't think any of these were actually ever really confirmed. The last one confirmed was, Dear Editor, this is the Zodiac speaking. I am back to you. Tell her I am here. I have always been here. The city Pigtashi is good, but I am smarter and better. He will get tired and leave me alone. I am waiting for a good movie about me. Who will play me? And now I am in control of all things. Yours truly, Zodiac Guess. That's San Francisco Police Department 0. And then that was it. So that was all the letters that he wrote. So obviously he spent quite a bit of his time writing. So some of the suspects that we got are Ross Sullivan. Now I got this suspect from the Hulu special. I think it's Hunting Zodiac or Finding Zodiac. Or it was just Zodiac. Ross Sullivan, he fits the description of the character, and he has some military background. Arthur Lee Allen had a lot of aspects going for him, that he was, he always talked to people about, what happened, like, stabbing people with knives, killing a taxi driver, and leaving fake prints, and all this other stuff. But he died, and he was actually cleared, I think, 3 or 4 times by police. So it's kind of like, was he really the Zodiac or wasn't he? And Lawrence Kane was another suspect. Now, the last thing that I have here is a copycat Zodiac in New York City, 1980. Now, some people thought that this could be the Zodiac moving to another spot, but it wasn't. They did actually catch this guy. This guy was caught in 1996. He was going to escalate to bombs, and his name was Heriberto Seda. He killed 3 and wounded 5. Seda admired the Zodiac, which is what a lot of people think because he would leave notes at crime scenes, and he killed people based on the Zodiac signs and how the stars aligned at night. And when they caught him, they found out he was going to escalate to bombs because it was in a hostage standoff when he thought that his sister's boyfriend was dealing drugs out of their apartment, and he shot at their door. She came out, was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And then she went to go run back inside. He shot her in the rear end, and she was in the hallway crying and just begging for help. And neighbors called police, and the boyfriend barricaded himself in a bedroom in the apartment, and it was a hostage situation. So what happened next? Excuse me. Sorry about that. What happened next was basically they called in a hostage negotiator. They talked him into throwing his guns in a bucket that they would, take up to the roof via helicopter in a bucket. And after that, they were about to walk him out, and he said, "What about these bombs?" So then bomb squad came in, and that's where they found out that he was going to escalate to bombing New York City. And guys, that is all I have about the Zodiac. Now, this was a really different type of thing that I've done. I don't usually do this type of thing, but I'm going to try to start doing podcasts like this and talk showy stuff. And I'm actually very, very excited for it. Let me know how you think. I know my reading is not the best, and my voice is very high-pitched sort of thing, but I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully this quality is good, and after this weekend I should have some better tech stuff. So let me know if you see this, what you'd like to see next, whether it be some political stuff or some nature stuff, astronomy, anything like that. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check me out on YouTube, and yeah, thank you for listening.